What's up, guys? I hope you're all doing well. And this was not a part of my original plan, but from all the suggestions and recommendations saying that I have to watch the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2, I couldn't resist the temptation. So I did. And if you haven't watched my review for Superman 2, I just put up last week at some point. I loved that movie and I thought it was a really good film. But here, I'm not going to re review the film because there's a lot of similar beats and it basically plays out the same with a few differences. And what those differences are the Richard Donner version of the film, the scenes that were cut and redone, and the movie was slightly reworked because Donner was fired later in the process of making it. So Richard Lester came in and they redid portions and little bits of the film. And the main stuff they redid was when Superman is having conversations in the original with his mother, slightly with his father, but the mother was the focal point of the second movie with the relationship with him and a parent. This film, Marlon Brando's scenes are all back in. The mother's not even in it. And I did think it was a little weird. That was one of the weirdest things for me in the second film, why you have so much of the mother in these messages that he's getting. And it didn't even really make any sense because in the original film, he comes into the wife and he says, I've given him every bit of information he needs. So she really wasn't aware. So in the second movie, when she's in the recordings, it's just like something you have to kind of go with. This film, she's not there. It's all Brando. And it works so much better. I think the film overall just plays better. Not saying that the original played poorly, but you can see, oh, this is what they were really going for. So a lot of the stuff that changed behind the scenes was with the producers and the director change. I think they had like a 25-year hold on the film, so not until 2006 this was able to come out. It's a similar scenario where a director can come back in and make the movie they wanted to make. And that's pretty rare. And I really only know it to have happened twice with the Justice League or the Zack Snyder Justice League. And then this film, we can potentially see a David Ayer version of the 2016 Suicide Squad. I would definitely watch that, but we'll see. But this film definitely worked better. It played better. The opening film or the opening of the movie isn't as chaotic as the opening of the second one. She doesn't get into there's a scene in like some sort of elevation bell tower or whatever. I don't even know what was going on there, but that's all gone. And the reason that the explosion happened and set the three free was because of the bomb that he sent in space, or the rocket or the missile he sent in space at the end of the first movie. So they played it together, they intercut it, and that's the opening first 8 minutes of this movie. And it sets it up perfectly. Now, I wrote some notes down, and it's something I kind of want to start doing just so I don't remember certain things that I wanted to say. And the first thing I wrote was Brando, and I already talked about him. The second thing I wrote was Zod free. And that's something that he says when they get free. I think he says something along the lines of free. It's a little weird and strange. So that's something I kind of wanted to write down. But John Williams, it says music by John Williams. And the second movie, John Williams had probably scored it, and then they changed direction. Then they brought the other guy in to complete the score and add the new score and intercut it with what John Williams has already done, I guess. I don't know. But I'm happy that the whole score was, I'm assuming, done by John Williams. Super Today, I wrote in quotations. That's what Lois Lane says. It's a line she says in the first scene of the film, in the Daily Planet, when she recognizes that he is Superman. And the second, in the original version, she has speculation, but it doesn't really happen. She doesn't really push him about it till they get to Niagara Falls. The film's a little bit reworked. She doesn't fall off Niagara Falls in this or jump off to prove a point. She jumps out of the Daily Planet to prove a point. He saves her without her knowing. She doesn't find out he's Superman until later on when I wrote that she shoots him with a blank. because she was so confident and she knew. And I think that's one of the best additions to this. I wrote Slasher Fogelstein is a bedwetter. I thought that was a funny line. Think Kal-El. I beg you. This is one of the better things that this version added was, like I said, the Brando stuff. He is having this conversation with his father, and it's not just forced like the mother's like, okay, you got to change, and he goes and does it. He's got a dilemma. And it's really shown in this version, in that scene where he's talking about how he loves Lois, and he wants to make a choice. And the father says, if you do this, you're gonna ruin our connection, and you have to be human, which is how it plays out in the original, but it just plays out better with the father. Freedom of the press line instead of, would you like to step outside, General? That's the only new addition that I didn't like. I thought it was so much cooler when he's just outside the window. Would you like to step outside, General? That was great. Here, stupid freedom of speech line's the only thing I didn't really like. But next thing I wrote was my baby in quotations. When the woman is just standing there saying, my baby, who is just in a carriage right in front of her, as the thing's falling, she could have started to run. She stood there and looked up at the thing and said, my baby. That was in the original. It's in this. And I didn't remember this, but I think the line's in the original as well. Superman in this film says, no, don't do it. The people. He says it 10 times better in this movie than his delivery, and probably from the direction he got in The Quest for Peace. By the way, in the opening, it says, this film is unfinished. It looks pretty finished to me. I mean, compare it to Superman 4. I mean, this is a finished movie. I wasn't really bothered by any of the newer effects. I thought they were all fine. I don't think they really looked much different than what was already there, which weren't terrible. And after that little scene takes place where he's fighting them on the streets, and you think Superman, well, he's not dead. The guy's walking around and he's like, he's dead. Superman is dead. And then you just hear some guy in the background go, okay, pal. That's great humor right there. It's just like really subtle. Roller skates is gone. Yeah, that's right. You don't have somebody on roller skates going backwards down the street by the wind. That whole sequence where they're blowing the wind out of their mouth definitely works better in this. I think that the back and forth between Zod and Lex was also better in the film. There wasn't a lot added, but what was added, it added more character, and I did like that. Destroys the fortress. The whole final third act pretty much plays out the same, but then he destroys his Fortress of Solitude. And I thought, wow, that is actually really cool that he did that. Now that he has no more connection, it's all gone. We can see each other all the time. It just can't be. It's what he says to Lois. None of that was in the original, and I think it actually really explains in the third film how they're not really together anymore. And I thought it was cool how he reversed the time. So the whole Zod stuff, they're still locked in space. I'm still giving this 4.5 out of 5 stars. There's still one or two things that I said that are kind of silly, but yeah, this is definitely the better version, the definitive version. But now that you compare apples to oranges, this is obviously the version to watch. So that's where I'm at with the Donner cut. That's it, guys. Comment down below what's your thoughts on the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I got reviews for the first 4 films, the theatrical cut of 2. Reviews are up now. Got Superman Returns. Going to be seeing that probably Wednesday. Going to be doing a review Wednesday night. And then Thursday, I'll be seeing Superman. That's the new one, and I'm very excited about it. You can definitely expect a review for Superman Returns. And then what's coming out? Yeah, this is the big one, Superman. And then next week, you got some other crazy films like the Smurfs movie, and I Know What You Did Last Summer, and Eddington, which I think looks pretty good. So I'm excited about all that. Guys, you can follow me on Twitter and or X at RyanKing72 and Instagram at KingOfRises131. That's about it for me. Thank you so much for watching my review for the director's cut of Superman 2. And until next time, don't do it! The people! Over and out.